Hello people of the internet and welcome to a video explaining how to improve your frames per second in Minecraft version 1.8 and above. I don't know how far this will go. Usually I will make a new video if my previous one no longer applies because things were changed enough to make it different. Now, some of this stuff will be similar in the last video I did, but a lot of it will be different and changed just because there's so much that changed for the better. I'm actually really surprised that I had to make a whole new video. I can't just change the name of the previous one. So, first thing we always do is go to Edit Profile when you have the launcher up, and you click, make sure it's this little button right here, and you click on this little thing that says JVM Arguments. Make sure that that is checked, and then type in -XMX, and then the amount of gigabytes you want to put into Minecraft, and then a G, which, let's say, okay, let me explain this really quickly. If you have 8 gigabytes of RAM, a safe thing to do would to be put half of your RAM in, because generally you won't need more than that unless you have a very low amount of RAM, and it's safe to just keep half your RAM open, and usually you probably won't use it unless you have a lot of mods, but let's say you have 3 gigabytes of RAM, then put 2. But generally, you can probably put 3, and you'll be good. I have 8, but I don't need to go any more deeper into that. And the other thing that I always did was, what was it? I went to the control panel, I believe. Yeah, okay. Hit Control, Shift, and Escape. All right, once you have Minecraft open, like you've launched the game, go, okay, I'm on Windows 8. On Windows 7, you can just right-click and then go do this, but for Windows 8, you have to find it under Details. It's essentially the same thing, but Windows 7, it's a little bit easier. So, okay, so here it is for Windows 8. This one's running a 592 or 572,000, so that's probably it. So then you would right-click on it there, set priority high. Now, I'm not going to do that because I don't need to, because my computer is good enough where it won't make a visual difference, really. Now, for Windows 7, if you have it, Control-Shift-Escape, open the Task Manager. Again, you can just right-click it right there, set priority high. You don't need to go to Details or anything if you have Windows 7. That's only for Windows 8. Alright, so here we are in Minecraft, and this is where things start to get a little bit different. As you can see, my frame rate is really horrendous right now, but when you go into your settings, you'll see that the way you can optimize is slightly different in 1.8 than it was to 1.7 through 1.7.1, I suppose, or 1.7 point something point 1, I don't even know. But obviously I've set it to the worst case scenario. We've got everything on the max. Now, you can tweak it to what you think you want, but if we're going for maximum performance with a little bit of visuals, here's what I'm going to suggest. Put your render distance down to 8 chunks, because at that point it's still fairly good. And then one thing, I always used to leave max frame rate at unlimited, but for whatever reason, it's working really well now where I will set this to 70 and I will put VSync on, and I never use VSync. I never ever use VSync. For some reason, it's working now. It's actually working well with Minecraft, and I don't know why that is. Oh, by the way, another option if VSync does not work well for you is, and this is the most popular way to do it, is go into your options, video settings, and then instead of doing that, have your max frame rate be unlimited, and then turn VSync off. And what I've seen is that in some cases it might be slightly smoother. In the past it was way smoother and less drops, but 1.8 implemented a much better way to use VSync somehow. I don't know how it works, but it seems to be really smooth now. So for now, as of the current 1.8 update, I guess I could just say use either, whichever one you prefer. Both ways seem to work very well. The difference being having unlimited frames may give you a slightly smoother experience if you have a very good graphics card, but also it puts more stress on your video card to use that many frames, whereas if it's locked at 60, it will stress your card less. So if you're worried about like how long your card's gonna last, or just less heat and power consumption, VSync would be what you want to use. But if you're going for, I want the maximum amount of smoothness regardless of efficiency or anything, then I would suggest unlimited all the way. For me, either one seems to be working fine as of now, which is really surprising because I usually hate VSync. But you can use whatever you want. And this thing, basically, it's a version of OpenGL, which is a way of kind of like rendering things you're looking at. It's an optimization type of thing. You're definitely going to want this on, especially if your computer isn't that great. So as before, we were sitting at like 40 frames a second while recording, but for some reason it's a lot harder to record Minecraft right now after the update, but the actual playing is better. So you get much lower frames recording, hence why I'm in full screen, because you get much better frames in full screen while recording. Alright, so let's set smooth lighting to off, graphics fast, particles minimal, and then let's take off alternate blocks because I think that literally just changes them to something else. I'm not entirely certain if that would affect your actual performance. Yeah, we got let's take clouds off, and then that should be it. After you got all of that done, let it load in for a second, and you can see we're at a stable 60, so let's set it to unlimited real quick here just to see what frames we're getting. Now this, while recording, it's way lower than it normally would be, but that's just a problem right now with the game. But I don't mind it, because if you overcompensate a lot, you can easily make up for that. So for me, I'm not going to complain about it. At least the game runs well now. But as you can see, we went from like 40 frames to probably averaging 180, I'd say, probably as an average. Depends on where you're looking all the time, obviously, but you can see it's much smoother game right now. And I'll go and I'll check real quick to see what my average is while not recording, because it is much higher. I mean, I think I'm closer to like 400 average or something. But so far, it seems to be working very well. I'm very pleased with this update. It really brought in things that it needed, absolutely needed. Like the rendering is instant now. But you can see it's quite a bit different than the 1.7 is, and that's why I made this video, just because I don't want to rename something that doesn't quite apply anymore. And if you see this video and you've watched it all the way through, make sure to drop a like, because that's what got my previous video, which it's over 80,000 views right now. That's how it got popular to begin with. It had a really good like to dislike ratio, so make sure to do that if you did like it, and I will see you possibly in a Minecraft video in the future, since I'm now not disgusted with it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe by hitting the icon below so you can stay up to date with my most recent posts. Also make sure to like, favorite, and share it with your friends on Facebook or Twitter.